Hey guys, Rock here. It is August 2nd, 2022. Today I got a 2016 Polaris Sportsman 850. We're going to go ahead and do the test run on it. I'll go around and check it out, and we'll just see how it goes. All right, let's check it out. So this is a machine. It is like I said, 850, so pretty good size. Inline parallel twin. It has about 3,000 miles on it, I believe. Toggle through here, 345 hours and 3,600. It's almost 3,700 miles. Got nice, what are they, Swamp Light tires. Pretty aggressive tires. This thing needs to be detailed, touched up with paint on the bumpers and stuff, but it's in pretty good shape overall. Now this is 2016. Yep. So it's a little bit different than the one I had before this. But well, anyways, let's hop on. You get the stock exhaust, the dual outlet, standard 1 1/4 inch receiver hitch for the Polaris. Fuel tank up front. But anyways, let's get on this thing and try it out. So very standard Polaris features here. You got your automotive type key switch that turns it on and starts. You got your two-wheel drive, all-wheel drive on this one. This is a base model, so it does not come with the power steering, does not come with the active descent control. But pretty much everything else is okay, or pretty much everything else is the same besides the wheels. These are steel wheels versus when you get into the higher ends, they come with nice aluminum, painted aluminum. Start it up just like that. You can toggle through your speedo. You get your analog speedometer, trip 1, trip 2. You got RPMs. And hour meter, so there's what you need there, nothing extra, but I like to leave it on the RPMs. Very simple shifter here. You got park all the way back, and then reverse, neutral, low, and high. Now these 850s are all stiff. I don't know about the I think the 570s are too, but they're just very stiff to shift, so it takes some getting used to. Sometimes, you know, like going to low range, if you do it quick, it's almost quicker to go to high and then back one, and that seems to work best for me. I've actually bought one of these 850s brand new in 2014. That was a 77 horsepower model. They did a lot of updates on that versus the older 850s. Now this one is actually 78 horse. They bumped it up a little bit. I'm not sure what they did, if it was the tuning, or I'm sure just a calibration tune. But these 850s are probably one of my favorite motors. They got, like I said, this one's 78 horsepower, so it's got plenty of power, yet very controllable. If you're looking for like a, you know, instant feeling torque, you want to pull wheelies real quick, and the most power, you're better off buying a Can-Am. These 850s, they kind of they soften the takeoff. I mean, you can literally, you know, this is a big motor, and you can just take off real slow with it, and it's very smooth power. If you hop on this from an 800 Sportsman, you almost feel like it's down on power, because that 800 is very aggressive, you know, the older style motor. But once you get going on this thing, you're like, okay, this thing does have some power. But yeah, anyways, we'll try it out. It like any Polaris, I mean, this is probably one of the best riding Polaris Sportsmans I've rode. It rides great, wicked suspension. very narrow here. You have a ton of foot room, you know, wheel wells, because they turn the motor sideways in these, so it gives you a lot of leg room. And it's just night and day difference between this versus the older value line Sportsman, or even a 570. The 570, they go good, but they're the 850s, the 550s, and I guess now the 1000s, they're all balanced just this way, and they work great. So we're gonna try out low range all-wheel drive. Usually these Polaris, especially with these aggressive tires, it shouldn't even spin a tire going up this. Yeah, no. The Polaris all-wheel drive system is very instantaneous. I like it. No power steering on this model. I have it in all-wheel drive right now, and it's very manageable. There's very little effort compared to two-wheel drive. It's not much different, really. Now you start getting into where you're losing traction, you'll feel both them tires kick in, and it'll turn a little harder. But just for trail riding, you could ride this thing around in all-wheel drive, and it's not gonna bother your arms or anything. But I like to run it in two-wheel drive unless I need it, and also high range. And we'll get on to, I'm gonna do a top speed run on this thing. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to hit the actual top speed of it, but we're gonna try it. The only reason I say that is because these are quick, and I think I'm gonna run out of room on my road before I'm able to get a very top speed out of it. So my 2014 Sportsman 850 I had, very similar. Headlight pod's a little different. That's a little lower, and that one had the power steering. Oh, the power steering is very nice. It's not a deal breaker by any means. This thing goes good. There's not a lot of effort, but these little rocks and stuff, you kind of feel the feedback quite a bit in the handlebars, much less than some of the older models, but compared to the power steering model, you don't feel anything. You know, if you've never had power steering on an ATV, you don't feel the need to have it. But once you get it, you're like, okay, that's pretty nice, and you're gonna want it on your next machine. It's an expensive feature for sure, and it's all up to you what you want to spend on. You know, that extra. Is that power steering enough value? Because you're gonna pay probably between $1,000 and $1,500 or something for that power steering. It's quite a bit of money. You do get a few other things, but even in the used market, now this machine, it's got, like I said, 3,600 miles, I think, or something. I don't know. I looked at it at the beginning of the video, and it's in good shape, runs great. I'm gonna be looking to get probably $5,500 for this thing. Now you jump up into the, say you want the SP fancier package, even when you're buying used around here anyways, this is Northeast Vermont, you're gonna look at spending probably close to $7,000-8,000 maybe, unless you get a good deal. But so there's quite a bit of difference in price. You know, and $5,500, that's a pretty good deal for this machine. I've seen a lot on there going for more, but I look to, you know, make a little money and sell them kind of quick. So see right there, that thing went over it good, the road good, but it pulled the steering wheel quite a bit just without that power steering. But this thing does ride nice. It's comfortable. It's got such a, you know, basically very thin, skinny feeling, almost dirt bike style seat on it, but it's got plenty of cushion on it. Now this machine you can ride around in high range, no problem. Right here, we're at about 2,900 RPMs. It doesn't feel like it's lugging or anything. But if you want to, conserve your belt, you definitely run low range more. But that's another thing. The older Sportsman 800s, they were known for going through belts, drive belts. And my 14 I bought, I checked this one out. It's in very good shape. I'm not sure if it's already been changed or what. I'm gonna guess it has been. But my 14 I bought brand new. I put about 3,000 miles on that. Maybe not quite, but anyways, the belt, it was over between 2 and 3, and the belt was in very good shape still. Now I bought a Sportsman 800. No, that was a Razor 800 I bought brand new. A little bit heavier machine, but still. I went through in about 2,500 miles. I went through 2 to 3 belts, and that's using my head, using low range. It just I don't know, usually around top speed it would it shredded them for some reason. I'd get to like 60 miles an hour on that Razor 800, and the aftermarket ones didn't last long. The Polaris ones lasted a lot longer, so it definitely pays to buy the OEM stuff in most cases. So back to this one. This is it's a great sounding motor. It's it's not a V-twin, it's inline parallel twin, but the way they have the pistons going up and down and timing of that, it sounds like a V-twin, and you really notice it when you get a aftermarket exhaust on it. I put a big gun on mine, and it sounds good. It sounds like a street bike, a V-twin. But I don't know. The trails, you're not supposed to run aftermarket exhaust. And I'm telling you what, after putting 100 miles on with an aftermarket exhaust, you're gonna, your ears are ringing, and I kind of like the stock notes now, so I tend to run those. But another great feature about this is its engine braking. I will show you up here. However, when you go with the base model like this Sportsman 850, you just get the regular engine braking, which only slows you down with the rear wheels. So you let go of the gas. Right here, it's nice and dry, so it's not going to slip. But say you're going down a muddy incline or a real rocky incline, you let go of the gas, your rear tires are going to lock up, and then it's going to kind of skid you down the hill, because your front tires just want to keep going unless you get on the brake a little bit. But now with the SP model or the XP models, depending on which year you get, you have what they call an active descent control. That is a very nice feature. What it does is you put it in active descent control, and it'll slow you almost to a stop, and it works very good. It puts all that engine braking to all 4 wheels, and it's a very nice feature. But you only get it with the higher end model. So anyways, we're on the high speed run here. We'll do a little bit through the trail, and then I hit the road, and we'll see what we can get for a top speed. If you guys haven't ever seen these 850s, I haven't tried top speed with this. My 14, eventually, it took a pretty good sized stretch of road, but that one, I think I hit 79 miles an hour. Now that's fast on a quad. It's fast on anything, side by side, whatever. But that one actually handled very good. I've only been maybe 50 miles an hour on this so far, and you can feel you're going 50 miles an hour because of these tires. They're not a great high speed tire anyways. But anyways, we're gonna try it actually while we're on this kind of not doing our top speed run yet, but while we're on this good road, we're gonna put it in low range. I'll kind of show you what you can get out of it in low range. So I mean, we're cruising, we're at like 6,000 RPMs here, about 25 miles an hour. You can go more, but you're gonna be pushing the RPMs up. But yeah, I actually hit the rev limiter there when I hammered on it, but it will do 25, 30, no problem in low range, on the Speedo anyways. I don't know what it says on the GPS, and that's another thing. The 850 I was saying I got 79 miles an hour out of, that was not with this GPS, that was just on the Speedo, so it could have been lying to me for sure. But we'll see what this can do. Starting to mist here a little bit, so hopefully the quality of the video don't go down too much for you. All right, so we're gonna come to a complete stop here. I'm probably not gonna be able to get on hammer on it the whole way here, probably, but you'll see the acceleration, two-wheel drive. I don't like to run them in four-wheel drive when we're going that fast, but right from the get-go, ready? There she goes. Picks up speed very quick. It's 40 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, almost 60. You can see the handlebars on this thing. It is vibrating already, and I believe the tie rod end's a little loose, but I think mainly it's the mainly it's the tires, big aggressive tires. This thing shakes. Yeah, I don't even want to go faster than that. Shakes too much. I might have to change out the tie rod ends, because I should be able to do a little more than that. But you get an idea of what this thing goes. It showed, I think, 70 on the Speedo. We'll see what it does on the GPS. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and check out some of my other stuff.